Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about how to look at PSA and singles pricing data and population reports in order to navigate this market in case it's something you're interested in. Honestly, I'm pretty new to this market too. I don't really deal with singles, but I do like data and I realize there's more data available than I expected. So I like going into that stuff. So let's get into it. So this is kind of news. I don't see any other sales for this Eevee promo from the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB for Prismatic. I see an $1,800 sale. That's a pretty high dollar. I see other PSA 10s being sold for other things, but they're not the Pokemon Center one. I could just tell from the price tag. Like a lot of these EVs are PSA 10 over here, but that's the normal ETB. I see other EVs, but I don't see anything fetching a high price tag. So I don't really think that might be really the first one sold for um, the PSA 10 one. So as far as I can tell, at least. So why does this matter? So I've watched videos on PSA data and how there's like grading plays, how like if you get it at release, you can sometimes grade cards really quickly because people will pay higher prices to be one of the first ones to get the card in PSA 10. So there's theory about that, and I'll probably go over that. But I just want to also go over the data on some of the most popular cards, which people don't really look at, and so I just want to be a little more transparent on that. So the main two data sources I'm using are eBay sold listings and the PSA website itself. And I'll go over that. And a little bit of price charting. That's more of a honestly lazier approach for me, but it does help a little bit. Okay, so it all started because I was curious on what the pricing of the EV promo for the Prismatic ETPs are because I've been tracking the Prismatic pricing data and it's still double MSRP, but the ETPs have dropped a lot since before and they're at like 104 now. So, but I kept noticing like if you do the price per pack math, there's still more expensive price per pack than the lowest items, which is the three packs, the sticker collections. They sell for about like 10, let's just say 1070, 1080 a pack, versus the ETB sell for about $1 more pack. So I was like, okay, so it's a promo card worth it because that's basically $9 to $10 more per ETB, and plus the other things that people don't always care about. But yeah, the I see that the promos are selling for quite a bit more. Like this is selling for about $30. This is like $13. Um, this is Pokemon Center, I'm guessing. This is like 25. So the promos actually sell for quite a bit. And so the ETBs are just kind of disproportionately valued over the three pack things, which makes sense. Um, okay. And then I saw the sale with the. I was wondering how PSA 10s were going. So I was like, okay, so the PSA 10 is selling for about 230. That's about 180. I mean, 170. This isn't perfect, but I just typed in PSA 10 EV 173 because the 173 is the number of the card. And so you get some sold listings to get an idea of the market. Okay, but this is pretty imprecise. This is hard to track. So like, what's actually more useful for data? Um, well, I also wanted like I like to. You want to go for the extreme sometimes. Like, what are the extreme cards that you think would do well? Are they doing well? If they're not even doing well, why would you think the middle tier cards are doing well? Unless it's sort of like an arbitrage sort of situation. But then I was like, okay, the main top cards would probably be the Pokemon Stand promo because it's a nice card, and also probably uh, the the Moonbreon from Prismatic. So I'm going to go over those. So yeah, whenever these, the only one I could find PSA 10 was this one. I saw I was like, is this like really rare? Okay, now I want to get into like some of the data. So I had a hard time searching for the population reports on PSA drew like just searching. But what I did is that I just went on eBay, and since there was already one sold for PSA 10, all I did was I just zoomed in, took that number, that 103 number, and I looked up the PSA number, so I got that. And then I clicked on population of here, I see 35. So you click on that, I see this sort of thing, and this is a nice breakdown. So this is what people who get like deep into PSA cards are probably constantly looking at. Looking at these are called population reports, and it's pretty simple as far as like the grading goes. I don't know what these other columns are. I told you I'm still pretty new to this, but you'll see like this is pretty nice because there's only two items available for ETBs, but for these are the grades. So mostly people will try to send in nines and tens. And you'll see that it's about 50-50 for the Pokemon Center ETB, but for the normal ETBs, it's more disproportionate. So like this isn't perfect data because not everyone's sending in their cards to grade. And some people are better at grading, so they'll send the better cards. Like they won't like you see how like it's disproportionate to the higher numbers. It's because people aren't sending the lower grade ones typically. But sometimes it's give you a sense of like how hard things are to grade. It's like okay, so actually I think I said 50-50 before. So it seems like it's a little harder to grade the Pokemon Center ETB promos as a 10, but it's easier to grade the normal ETB ones. And so this means that like that adds more value to the Pokemon Center one because it's just hard to get a 10 because tens have disproportionate value over nines. Um, and this is where I'm like price like this is actually a pretty good example for a nine. But do you see how like up to grade nine, the ungraded over here for searching stars Pikachu is like ungraded is like 14, 15, and graded is only like nine is only 430. You only get $15 more, and the grading fee is already like $15, so you're not even saving money. There's this 9.5, which I don't really know what the deal is with that, but yeah, PSA 10 you see like that's where you get like almost three times the value. So the PSA 10s are like the item. PSA 9s are very undervalued usually. So typically when you want to get to PSA 10, you really want a 10. Like anything less than a 10 isn't really always worth it for you. Um but yeah, that like the value will increase because of these population reports where people will see that um it's actually much harder. I think the magic card for Paldea Evolved is actually works like that. The 9 to 10 ratio is very very difficult. I'm not really fully confident. I could look that up, but PSA Paldea Evolved population. Let's see how that works. I'm just trying this off the cuff. Okay, that looks off somehow. Seems a little low. Okay, yeah, for Magikarp, that seems really, really low. I'd expect there's more submissions. So, okay, I probably have to do the eBay trick, as I said before. So, yeah, if anything, like, use the eBay trick, guys. Just find a sold listing on eBay, search that PSA number, and you'll get it. Okay. So, but yeah, so I was curious, like, how this compares with, like, the other top stats. But also, like, this is a very small sample size, relatively. Like, you don't really know. Um, but it gets more obvious if you're just looking through a lot of cards. So I did the same thing with the Umbreon over here. And by the way, I think that's selling for like this is about 2,000, this is about 4,000, 4,000. Actually no, this is not graded. So it's about 4,000. Let's just say $4,000, $5,000. So it's a pretty big value. Okay, so I searched this one up, got this population, and it brings me to like the full set list. So like, this is kind of what I was looking for when I was Google searching the Paldea Evolved. But when I look at that, I see the Umbreon, and it's nice because you can see all the Umbreons. So Umbreon EX, I only see one listed here, which seems kind of low. I see like more listed on eBay than that. So I don't know how exactly this works. Is it like, did they mess up the database? Did they not update it yet? But yeah, so far there's one here, and it's actually listed as a 9, which is, did I put a 9 here? This should be a 10, so I don't really get what, unless I'm just really bad at this, guys. Oh, sorry. Should be the special illustration rare. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So, so this is the population report for the special illustration rare, and you see this is 10 column, this 9 column, so it's about 50-50. It's a little harder to grade a 10 than a 9, but yeah, you'll see that like people are getting mostly 10s and 9s, and does the value justify that? Well, PSA, the estimates on price chart is like it's PSA 9 is still worth quite a bit much, so compared to ungraded. So, but although the prices are kind of volatile, but you'd still get like a $600 what something. So at this point, if you want to grade a Umbreon, I think it's at least a 9. It's actually worth the money. when things aren't worth the money, people will actually crack the slabs and just sell it as raw because then people, at least like there's uncertainty like whether that's a 10 to the other person. But like, yeah, it's like they're not gonna be able to get a 10 from it usually. Um, so that was that for the Moonbryon. And then for Surging Sparks, I did that again. And also, if you're curious, I'm seeing Surging Sparks. This was sold for about $1,000. Sold for 1,100, 1,100, 1,100. So it's 1,200. So Surging Sparks, let's say roughly 1,000 to 1,100 for PSA 10s. Um, this is Prismatic. This is Surging. And then so Pikachu. So I'm looking for special illustration rare. Yeah, I just learned that you should look for special illustration rare. Nines and tens. It's about 50. It's actually it's a little. There's more PSA nines than PSA tens. So and then there's a bunch of other people grading. So like this is more of a flesh out thing. A lot of people send it in 5,000 submissions, and you see like the PSA tens a little harder to grade. And let's look at the price. Um, yeah, over here, like the PSA nines, they're not worth as much. Prices have stabilized, and yeah, there's just like there's too many of them, so people don't really want them. Uh, yeah, I would like if you're into PSA cards, like look at population reports is pretty important. I'd also suggest you look at Nostalgianomics. Check out his channel. He recently released a video explaining like um, how to really gauge demand and opportunities in PSA cards because it's not simply population parts. There's also something called he calls like like I don't know if he calls it it's basically available supply. Because if you look at the Umbreon, all right, I'll just do just really quick. So evolving skies Umbreon PSA 10. So this card actually has um this card actually has quite a large population report. Let's zoom it. So 691 58350. Search. Hopefully it's real. Okay. So I look at population. And then this is for Evolving Skies and Umbreon. So, okay. So Umbreon over here, like this is you're actually seeing there's a lot of PSA 10 Umbreons. Um and then you're like, okay, so why is Umbreon worth so much? Because Umbreon is like the card that everyone wants in the modern era. So why is it selling for Umbreon VMAX price charting? Like why is it selling for like $3,000? Um even like it's not even that worth it to grade as a nine necessarily. Um but it's because of perceived it's because of like available supply versus the demand. Um like the way Nostalgianomics kind of puts it is that do you if there's only like 2,000 Umbreons total, do you think that there's like less like how many people do you think actually want this card? And let's say like there's if there's even like 100 or 500 or 1,000 people or 1,500 people who want the card and don't want to sell it or at least anytime soon, then like that decreases available supply. And what he does is that he looks at like the available listings and he just looks at the math. He's like, how many of these are actually online? Okay, so even though there's about 2,000, if only 1% is actually online, that means that you can buy only like 20 because 1% is like 20 available at any time, and so like that's really really scarce, and that's why the price is really increased. So like there's things like that. It's not just like these pure numbers, but these are things. This is how you kind of start looking at the numbers because you want to support your decisions with data. All right, that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, just let me know and I could do maybe more of these. I'm still kind of new PSA, and you have any other video ideas, because I am trying to expand and try to experiment with other video ideas, just let me know and maybe I'll try to do those. All right, thanks, bye.